Developing online tutorials, example number 1, continued. Do you remember the storyboard that we had previously? Well, when I break up the Google Forms, I'm going to have to remember how I broke up the videos. I know, for example, that there's one video just with this portion right here. So this would be the first portion, and you can break up your Google form with dividers. The next portion is going to be these two videos, or these two slides, which is one video. But then for these last two, each one of these is going to require two videos because they're going to try it, and then the solution is going to be after that. So then we're going to have two sections for this one and two sections for this one. So there's going to be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections if I counted correctly. I usually don't count them up in advance. I just wanted to let you see this before we started. That way you can kind of know where I'm headed when I start creating the Google form. I am now ready to put these videos into a Google form. So I've typed in forms.google.com. You can access Google Forms a lot of different ways. You can access it directly from Google Classrooms, from Google Drive, multiple ways you can get to this. Sometimes I just type in forms.google.com or just search for Google Forms and it'll take you to this page. I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to click blank right here. And I'm going to call this one Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and click up here this title of it. This is the title that displays. This is the actual title of the document. Since I already called it something here, when I click up here, it will automatically give it the same name, which is exactly what I want. You can add a description if you need to. That's totally up to you. I'm going to now, we've got some questions, but I'm going to, if you think back to my storyboard, the first thing that I'm going to have is that first video. So right here it says add video. Now to find the video that I want, one of the things I can do is I can go back over to my channel videos, and it was Pythagorean Theorem video 1. If I click on it right here, it will actually take me to that video. It's going to want to play. I'm going to pause it, and I just need to get the URL of this video, so I can copy it right there, and that copies it. I'm going to go back over to my, there we go, paste it and search, and there it is, Pythagorean Theorem 1. And click select. Alright, so I'm going to just call this introduction video. Alright. Now, some other things that you can do, notice if I click directly on the video, I do want it to be bigger. I want it to fill up the entire thing. I don't want them to be squinting at it, trying to figure out how to make it full screen. So I do always like to do this. You can also click here on it, just right outside the video or beside it, and it'll give you these three dots. I do want it centered. So there's my Pythagorean Theorem video. Now, if you remember as well, after I was done with this, there was a question at the very end, and I asked the question to save myself from having to put up a bunch of extra pictures in here. I put the question at the very end of the video itself, and I put which is, so it was A, B, and C, which is the correct answer from the end of the video. And it's multiple choice, and I'm going to go A. Oh, give me some option here. I'm going to add B and C. There is no option D. And I'm going to make that a required question. Okay. Now I'm going to, I can always come back later, and the correct answer I can determine if it wants to go to the, based on the correct answer, do we go to the new section or not? If you think back to my storyboard, the next thing that it's going to happen is going to be some practice problems, okay? So I want a new section. I'm going to call it, let's try this. Now I'm going to call it examples. Let's call it examples. Examples. and then I want to add a video. Okay, so I need to get that second video. So I'm going to go back up here to my tabs, and I'm going to get my channel videos. It was Pythagorean Theorem 2 was the next one. I'm going to click right there so it takes me to it. Pause it because it's going to want to play. Click share. Get my URL. You can also get the URL from the address bar at the top. Paste that in there. Search. Pythagorean Theorem 2. Select. There is the second video. And I'm going to give it a title. All right, and I do want it centered, and I am going to make it bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. That's probably about as big as I can get. Yep, that's as big as it'll go. All right, so there I've got my video, and after this, I'm just going to add a question that says, are you ready to try 2 on your own? I'll just put 1. Are you ready to try 1 on your own? You might suggest, oh good, yes and no. And so if they say yes, it goes to the next section. If they say no, it can stay in this one. You can do that with any of these. To do that, you do required so that they have to answer it. And then you can do go to section based on answer. So if they say yes, I'm ready to try 1, go to next section, right? If they say no, we want to stay right in this one. Example, so they will never move on to the next section if they, no, I'm not ready. And then when they click next, it'll just take them back to this one. All right, so now we've got an example question. Practice number 1. And for this one, it was a picture. And I've already created the picture, so I'm just going to browse. And I believe I called that picture Pythagorean Theorem Pick 1. But it's here you go, the image. Pick 1 image. There we go. Upload that thing. There it is, and that's good. That's good. We'll have it like that. Solve for x. I could make this a little bigger. I could have probably cropped it down a little bit. I'm not too worried about that for this particular reason. I still think it's, you can still see it. And then let's see here. I'm going to add a question. This is going to be short answer, so it's not multiple choice. Does x equal... and I'll put a description on this one. Description is going to say round to the nearest 10th. And they'll be able to put that in there. If I wanted to, I could make them, you know, from this point, I could make them, if they don't get it right, they have to go back and watch the video again, whatever I want to do. It's totally up to you. I am just going to put in here the solution to the first example. Solution practice 1, and that's a video, and so I need to go back and find my video again. Oh, wrong one. Channel videos, that would be the 3rd video I did. There it is right there. My address, go back to my Google form. Paste that in there. Search, there we go. Select. Solution. Why does it tell me that that's... now? Okay, fine. Solution to practice 1. And I'm going to make that a little bit bigger there and center it if we need to. I'm also going to add a question. Are you ready to move on? You don't have to add the question. If they just want to watch the video, it'll just have the option of them moving on. I just like to have the question in there. All right, we got one or two more sections to go. Here's going to be practice 2. And let's see, did I call the first one practice number 2? Practice number 1. Yeah, let's be consistent here. Practice number 2, and this one once again is just that image. Browse, and that should say pick 2, Pythagorean theorem, pick 1, Pythagorean theorem, pick 1, pick 2. I'm not seeing it. I have to recreate that picture. Hang on, let me. Wait, it's this one right here. I didn't put pick 2. Fourth one, open. There's that last practice problem. So let's see what I call this one here. Solve for x. Oop. Yep, solve for x. And then I added my question. What was x? Or I think I put what was it equal to. And we're going to do a short answer, so they type it in. Again, I'm going to make it required, add a description, round to the nearest tenth. And again, I could make this to where it'll move on if it's right or if not. You can also change all these to quiz. You change this to a quiz. Underneath the settings, you can make it a quiz so that they have to have a correct answer for those. I'm not going to worry about that right now. What was x? Let's do the solution to our final practice problem. Now it's going to make me put the word the there again. The solution to practice number 2. And let's put our video in there, and I need to find it. So let's see here, where are you? That would be the 4th video, there it is. Pause it, and I'm gonna click share. Okay, I'm sorry this is taking so long. I tried to skip out as many things as I could, but I figured you might really want to watch this part. So paste it right there. Number 4. Select, so there's the solution. You gotta put solve for x. All right, so I'm gonna just go back through here and just make sure I have everything the way I want it. If I wanted to see what the actual form looked like for the students, I could click this preview. That would let me see it. You can put pictures at the top. I'm not going to worry about any of the styling of the forms, although that's a fun thing. You can change the way everything looks. That can be really enjoyable just to make it look the way you'd like to. I may do that before I post it online, but for now, here you go. So we got the Pythagorean theorem. There's my introduction video, which is the correct answer, and that was C is the correct one. I could make this, I think it was C, I'd have to go back and look. Then we've got examples. 2 examples are in this video. Are you ready to try your own? Yes or no? If they do yes, it goes to the next one, practice number 1. Solution to practice number 1. Practice number 2, and the solution practice number 2. And let me go ahead and add one last question. Ready to do a few of these on your own. And let's go yes, no. And let's go ahead and add maybe. And just for fun, other. Now, one more thing before I click off of this. If I was signed into my school's Google account, I could do collect email addresses, and it would require them to sign in to their school account. I can limit to the response to one time. Honestly, I'm not going to worry about any of these things right now. I would let them see after they're done. They can go back and edit it. If it was a quiz, I wouldn't want to do those things. But if it was a quiz, I would definitely want to have it set up as make this a quiz, which means there are a whole another set of options here. And there's other training videos on how to create quizzes and all those things. So here's this. I am going to, on the presentation one, do show progress bar. And I'm going to leave this on here so that when they're done, they can always go back and try it again. And I'm going to click save. And then to get the link to this thing, you click send. And this little link button right here will give you the link to this thing. This is what I'm actually going to share with you later. This is what you could share in Google Classroom. This is what you could share in email, all those other things. Share this link. They'll be able to access this. I'm going to put it underneath this video so you can click and you can actually try this quiz. Thank you for watching this portion. I've got one more video after this, and then I have an option for you to ask some questions. Well, you're now ready to deploy your tutorial. Well, I'm ready to deploy my tutorial that I just made. You can choose a lot of different options. You can choose Google Classroom, you can choose Google Sites, whichever method you choose to send this out and to share your created video is totally up to you. And we have other videos that talk about how to do those particular things. For your sake, though, right down there, I have decided to include a link to that one that I made dealing with the Pythagorean theorem. So if you wanted to click on it and see what it looks like, at least give you some idea of what it would be like for a student who was taking that, and then you can decide if that's something you'd like to do. This is about the end of our presentation, and there's one more video after this, and then you will be all done.